Okay, so here we are. We're going to start on the shirt, and the two colors to start with are going to be peacock green, which is PC 907, and your PC 289, which is your grayish green. These are just to start. So what I want you to do, if you're following me and you're doing the same pattern as I'm doing, let me zoom in here for you. I will adjust my image here. This goofy, I need a better lap table. You know, I have that beautiful office upstairs. I probably could use it, but I'm too lazy today. I'm waiting for the mouse guy to come. Just in case, you know, the joys of living on a wetland. I figured, you know what, I might as well just have some bait stations put down so I don't get any more unwanted visitors in my garage. That was so weird. Just creepy little things. Anyways, I don't know what they're looking for in there. There's nothing in there. Little turds. Okay, so the peacock green, what I decided to do is kind of a pattern, but we're going to start with these two greens. We're going to add more green. This is just a start. So, the first thing you're going to do is up here around that collar is kind of put in some light shading where there's the darkest parts of this collar. Don't get too close to the hand and don't do a heavy coat. You're really just doing a light coat right now. And you can see I'm kind of outlining a little bit around her hand. I don't want my color to get blended into her skin color, so I'm just being ever so gently. And I know it looks dark, but that's because there's some dark shading underneath that the artist had put in there, so. And then around here, she's got that neck collar there. Why is it when my TV is on really low, a commercial comes on and it blasts me? Didn't they put regulations out that required them to fix that? That sound blasting when it comes to commercials. Thought they regulated that. Obviously they don't enforce it because that commercial came out of nowhere all loud and brazen. So as you can see, I'm just kind of lightly adding some of this shading in here. Again, I'm just following what the artist had. And just, I don't want to get too crazy. I played with the color on this shirt for so long. I was struggling what color to do. I was like, okay, do I do it pink? Do I do it red? Do I do it, you know, this color, that color? And green seemed the most fitting because of the very little bits of green in the strawberries. I wanted to make sure that I got a little more green in the picture. And no matter what other color I put down, it just did not seem like it was the right color. And then I thought about doing black and white. I was all over the place with this one. Nothing was sitting happy with me. But by all means, do your shirt color, whatever color you like. I just happened to pick this green pattern. And there is going to be kind of a pattern to it because there's so many checks. So I thought I would do a simple but cute pattern. It's not going to be overly blended or overly detailed. So because it's such a large part of the picture, I didn't want to get too crazy with the image. And I did try all kinds of things. I tried putting little shapes in there. I worked all kinds of angles with this picture. I definitely practiced a little bit on what to do with this shirt, but it was a scribble practice. It wasn't like I planned this out. It was more planning out what's the best color to pick for this. Okay, now take your greenish gray, your 289, and kind of give it a light blend. Don't go too heavy because we're going to put some more color in there. Pay attention to your white areas, especially around the edges. But what you should get is kind of this bluish green, and it should come over into the white if you're blending good, and be kind of a faded out peacock green. Why is my camera jiggling? It's not touching anything but the floor. Good Lord. Always something, I swear. Nobody's ever... Look at that. It's a jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. I'm not even touching the camera. That's ridiculous. Again, I'm just adding a light blend here over that green. Just kind of moving that color around. Pulling it into the white space so that it kind of fades it and tones it down with this greenish gray. It's really a pretty color. And it works really good in this scenario here. Look at that. That camera is just not wanting to be nice. Let me try to stabilize that. Good gravy. That worked. I wasn't even touching the doggone thing and it's just jiggling. It's enough to make you nauseous when you're trying to watch it. No, I hate that when I'm watching a video and I'm like, dude, hold the camera still. Like, seriously, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm talking about? When somebody is recording a funny video or something, you're trying to watch it and then they can't hold the camera still, or they angle off into a different direction and miss like half of everything you're trying to watch. Thoroughly frustrating. Okay, so that's just the start for the collar. Like, thoroughly frustrating, like me getting out of frame. Okay. It's terrible. All right. So we started with that little part here. Now, you're still going to stick to these two colors for right now. These are going to be the start of the whole shirt. We are going to, like I said, add more colors and different colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here, up at the top on her shoulder. And I'm gently outlining that first box right by her hand. I'm not doing a heavy coat, but I'm going to add just a little bit of shading in certain spots. Why is that TV so loud all of a sudden? So you're going to catch on to what I'm doing here. There, I added that corner. I'm just going over the outline of that center one. But I'm not doing that center one. At the very top center one, I'm doing the one below here. Again, I'm following the artist's line. And I'm just putting a little bit of this green because I'm going to blend it out. So I'm just adding some of it here and there. This part right by the collar here, you're going to want to put a little bit deeper of a color to keep that defining line between the collar and the shirt. And we will come back in and make some adjustments for that so it really stands out. Okay. Skip every other one, just like I'm doing here. And put some shading up around the hair, because I don't want those curls to fade away. And I'm blending that edge I just did there. Get this corner here around that piece of hair. Probably put a little bit more here for right now. This one's going to be kind of a lighter area. Are you kind of picking up on the pattern yet? Every other one? Go around the skin. And anywhere there's darker shading, you can apply just a little bit more. See how I'm doing that? I'll show you. So I'm going to take my 289, and where I put only in those boxes where I put the peacock green, I'm blending over it and I'm pulling it out. That's going to kind of give a sheer effect in a way, but it's still going to fill in that square. So you're doing a light coat over the whole square. And again, I'm going to put more color in here, so just bear with. This is just the first portion. But it is a more simple approach. Do your shirt any way you like. This is just what I came up with. I don't know if it's going to look good or look terrible on the overall picture, but we will find out when it's done, right? So you can see I'm just going over every other square that I did here, blending that color into the white. So basically what I don't want is deep, sharp lines. I want that color to blend. Because when I come back in the end, I want it to all kind of work together. I got a little too dark on my edge there, but we can fix that when I do the final touches. So again, I'm not using a heavy touch. I'm just being gentle because I don't want to burnish the paper. And I don't want to get too crazy right now. Usually I do a lot more underpainting or base coloring, but this little section was a little different for me. Let me come back in here with some more. That little square there. Why is that TV suddenly so loud? It's like, wow. Is it me? My hearing getting sensitive? Right around the hair there. Okay, so you can kind of see in the pattern now. So green, white, white, green, but, you know, so on, so on. But those white spaces are also going to be green. They're going to be a different green. So I thought about leaving them white, but it looked better green. A different green. So I'm just getting a little bit darker right up close to the hair. Just put a little more shading around that hair. do this one. And she's got some darker shirt folds right here, it looks like. So you're kind of picking up on the pattern now. So I'm going to do this one. And then skip that one, do this one. So hopefully you're kind of seeing what I'm doing here. Kind of following the wrinkle of the shirt or the folds the best I can anyway, with how she's got the shirt positioned here. And some of them where there's not a whole lot of movement in the shirt, it might be a little harder to add some definition in there, but I'm just putting some guesstimate lines, so to say. Got that little bit there, and that could be a little bit darker. And we can do this one. Right along her arm there. Maybe just a little in that corner. And then we'll do this guy. And you see this one has a darker shading right through the center. It's kind of how the fabric sits, like almost like a fold, but it's more a shading. So, like when you sit down, your fabric moves on your shirt. So I'm just kind of putting a little over that. Get those corners. And right here against this bow. That can be a little darker. And then this last one here. And there's some more of that wonderful shading in this right up against her arm. Just make it a little bit darker. Okay, so once you've done that portion, make sure you take your 289 and give those individual boxes a good blend with that peacock green. Just lightly though, don't get crazy. Light pressure should be enough that you can move that color around, but you can still see kind of the folds in the shirt, like right here on this one. See how you can see that line? You want to still be able to see your fold lines, but you want to get just enough color in there to tone out that peacock green, but still be able to see it. And this greenish gray is really good for exactly the application we're doing. Or I should say I'm doing. But I like to see people when they do pictures like this and what they come up with and how it looks. See, I think with the different color of hair, if I would have done black hair, I could have done a really cool black and white shirt. That would have looked really neat with the black and white with the red. I should have thought about that, but I didn't. Because even black hair, and you know I hate the color purple, but even if I did black hair, I could have done like a royal purple shirt, like a really deep purple. Even though I hate purple, that would have looked really cool too. But I went this route She had to be a brunette, a reddish brown. So now I have to live with my choices and work around the color. So as you see, I'm just kind of going over each little area that I put in with that peacock green, mixing that color around. And again, it's light pressure. I'm not doing heavy pressure. Because I still want to see where I got those like shirt folds and extra shading in there. And then these down here, which are a little bit darker because there's less light. And then right on this one. And again, it's not perfect yet, but it'll get there. Okay, so this gives you an idea of where we're gonna go with this picture. And we're gonna repeat this pattern across the whole entire shirt. I'm gonna do that with you. And then we're gonna use a couple different greens and so on and so on. But now when you do your pattern, follow the shirt pattern. So you have this square by her arm that's green. You got this one that's dark green and her arm's blocking. So kind of think outside the box of maybe a square under here that would be white, and then your next one will be green, and then white, then white, so on and so on. Or you could do just like this right here and start with the green up top. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna start with the green on the top of her shirt. Because that's where I started, was one green spot up here. And I get a little shading around her hand. Oh, can you see that? So I'm going to use this. And then I'm going to work my way down into the center. Okay, so continuing on with the right side of the shirt, we are going to just continue what we did on this side. We're going to do it all the way down, and then we're going to work over to the center. So I left off here. Got that little square right there. And then there's some shading in here. Oops, my pencil's a little sharp there. So I'm just putting a little bit, just like before, kind of following the pattern, again, with what the artist had. And I'm going to go around the hair, because that's where you're going to get some more shading there. And then, oops, I almost did that one, see? Don't mess up like I did and almost do the wrong square. Again, I'm just going along the hand here. And this is, of course, the time-consuming process of doing this. But if you take your time and work the pattern, hopefully it comes out as I've depicted in my head. Why is my camera bumping? Let me fix this. See if I can move it just a smidget so it stops jiggle wiggle. That drives me crazy. I can see it out of the corner of my eye moving, so I'm sure it just watching it back makes you nauseous. Okay. This one, I'm going to go around the hair with a little bit of this dark peacock green here, because it's going to have some more shading around the hair. And I'm just going to put a little in these corners. Trying to keep a nice light coat. I don't want it too dark, because you want to have it uniform like the rest of them. So when you apply that second color, now I'm going to do this one on the end. I'm just outlining it there. Normally I would build up different layers, but I wanted to do something a little bit less technical on the shirt because it's such a big area, but it's still going to give you that nice overall finished look when it's done. And again, there are more colors that I'm going to put in, so as we go along, we will be doing that. I'm just going to put a little on that corner right there. And then this one, I'm going to get up around the hair again. A little bit more of that darker color where there'll be some shading there. Sorry, I know I get quiet when I'm concentrating, because it's hard to think. It's like people always say, can you walk and chew gum? I don't know. Probably not. I'm sure I could if I concentrated hard enough. All right. Seems okay on this one. And then I'm going to skip one and come over to the one next to the arm here. See, we did this one up here, but the shading was a little different since the artist put some shading in there. So I just followed what she had there. Okay, skip this one, do this one. I'm going to put a little along the arm here, not a lot. And my corners, I'm being very gentle. Peacock green is like a really movable color, so I don't want to get too crazy. Okay. This corner, I could put a little bit more there, and then right into the next one, which would be the center one here. Again, I'm just doing the outline real lightly. And I'm going to touch my corners with some of that green shading. Again, not a lot, because you want to be able to blend it and kind of move that color like we did on the left-hand side. That's what makes this kind of a unique pattern. Okay. Get this outer one here. Now you can see on this outer one, there's a little more grayscale shading that she put in. So that's what I'm following. For the most part, that's what I'm just kind of following what the artist has in there. And which makes this picture really nice that Lana had put in some of that shading for the shirt folds. So that makes it easier, especially if you're using darker colors. So you can kind of follow that. And then skip that next one, and I'm going to go right to this center one here. And again, I'm just going to kind of do a little bit around my corners, because this one's more open and in direct light. So I don't want to put too much, but I want to get just enough in these corners to give it some color. And I'm going to work this edge a little. Oops. Got a little too much on that. Okay, then this one against the skin here. And you could definitely see the more shading on this one. So I'm going to kind of go around that bow a little bit. And I'm just, again, working that shaded effect that she has in there. So to kind of carry on with how my week's been going after the mouse incident, you know, the garage door breaks. I have the mouse issue. Gretel's acting a lunatic. Then today I go to turn my kitchen sink on and the faucet came off The handle came off right in my hand. I'm not kidding. I'm really not. I put a picture on Facebook. So I'm just like, I threw in the towel today on adulting. I think I'm done for the day. I was like, yeah, that's it. The joys of being a homeowner, you know, it's worth it to own a home, but then when everything goes wrong, it seems like things fall apart in handfuls. People always say, oh, it happens in threes. No. It happens in like 20s. You know, I was like, are you kidding me with this nonsense today? So then I call around trying to find a plumber because, you know, my back doesn't bend well enough to get under there. I could do it myself, but I just can't get under there because all the fancy hardware in my back. So I'm talking to different plumbers, and the amount of money they want just to put in a frickin' faucet, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's highway robbery. I don't understand that. You know, $600-700. What? I bought the faucet. It's take you what? Less than 45 minutes to put that in. I'm not asking you to replumb my house. I'm just asking you to take the old one out, put a new one in. Yeah, ridiculous. So tomorrow I'll be calling around to some handyman services. A couple I got referred from some friends. So I'm going to make this one a little darker right here. So hopefully I could find one that is reasonable. I mean, I can understand, you know, you got to pay for services, but that's just lunacy to me. Okay, before we fill this in with our next color, I'm going to jump over here to the center part because I'm kind of taking into consideration her arms are here. So if I'm thinking pattern-wise, I got a dark one. There's probably a light one here. So this one's probably going to be dark right here. So I'm going to make it a little extra dark because it's up against that leaf. So then there's this one, which I think is part of this piece because that leaf is blocking it. So I'm just going to go ahead and also do this bottom one here under the leaf. A little bit darker right up against that berry. And then I'm going to leave this one white because I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably just the way her shirt is because it's an odd angle. So I'm going to do this one up here by the collar darker. No, maybe not. Maybe I'll leave that one white. See, that's where it gets weird. Okay, so if I got dark, light, dark, light, dark. Yeah, maybe I'll do this one dark and I'll do something. Okay, I'm going to do this one darker here. Might have to manipulate one of these squares a little bit. So if I go dark, and then this is light. Part of this can be dark, then light, right? So we'll do this one right here, around the berry. We'll put a little shading around the collar there. I think that was the best choice. So I think that was the right option here. Then this one will be light and this one will be dark. When I say light and dark, I mean not filled in and filled in. So for now, we are going to fill all of them in. They're just going to be a little different. Okay, put a little bit darker down here in this corner. And then this right here, since it's up against the berry, a little bit darker. Then this one will be dark. Right up against that cake. Be careful around your cake. Okay. So I think that's good. I do. Because we did this up here. We are going to come back and put some more details in, but I think that's good for the peacock green. For now, I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to grab my 289, which is your grayish green, pale greeny. And I'm going to go over those ones I just put the peacock in with a light coat. Don't press heavy. Just kind of move that green around your square, just like you did on the other ones. You're just kind of giving it a good overall blend, moving that color around your box. So it gives it that bluish gray color, greenish blue gray. And again, we are going to do more to these boxes. So this is just a beginning. Make sure you get every box that you put the green in, the peacock green in. And that's, as you can see, that's all I'm doing here is I'm just working that color up into each little area. And I'm not pushing hard, just a light coat. Because you don't want to burnish your paper. You want to kind of just move that color around just enough to turn those boxes that really pretty greenish blue. But you can still see your shading areas underneath for the most part. So you can see what I'm doing here. A little bit darker around the hair there. Now I got this little bit around the hair. Okay. And again around this portion of the hair where it's a little bit darker. Because again, I don't want to lose those curls. So picking the color for this shirt, the curls were another thing. I don't want to lose them in a dark shirt. So it was definitely coming up with the right color patterns was a little tricky for me this time. Usually I don't struggle too hard, but I did a little bit on this shirt. And I don't know why I struggled so much, but I did. I just went back and forth with what I wanted to do for the color on it. And farmer green came to mind. The country farm feel of this picture is what I was getting. So I just ran with it. I thought, you know what? Let's just go all in for this. And now the next part that I'm still thinking on is what color to do that tablecloth. So I haven't decided yet. Still rolling it through my brain. I played with some colors today, but that's when I was just trying to clear my head with all the nonsense that was going on in this house. You know, I've lived here for quite a while, but I've spent the first 10 years after I bought this house gutting it, remodeling it, putting a new roof on. I mean, I did everything. If you've ever seen that movie, The Money Pit with Tom Hanks, it's pretty funny, and Shelley Long. Yeah, that was my house. So, I mean, everything in this house has been redone. All the faucets, the toilets, the lights, the roof, the gutters, everything. So to have that kitchen faucet fall off in my hand, I was mad. And then somebody, another fellow artist today, because I posted it on Facebook, he asked me if it was a Moen faucet. And I said, well, yes, it is. I forgot Moen lifetime guarantee on their products. And I looked it up, and you betcha, it's supposed to last a lifetime. It shouldn't have fell apart like that in my hand. I mean, the screw is missing and everything. The doggone thing just came right off. So I'll be giving them a nice phone call tomorrow. I mean, I've already ordered a new faucet, so it's not like I can be without water in my kitchen, but they can just pay me a check or pay the handyman. Okay, so we've got our first bit of color down, as you see here, which is really cool. So we're going to leave it as is right now. We are going to come back to all this, so don't panic. I want you to get your grassy green. I know, right? Bright grass green. But trust me. So now I'm going to go up here on this left shoulder. And with my grass green, I'm going to lightly fill in some of these boxes. And where there's darker shading in the box, I'm going to put a little heavier green coat. And I usually never, ever, ever do a solid color like this. I always use something like an underpainting or a coating underneath of it. But I am doing this totally different. This is an outside the box for me. So this box has a little bit more shading. I'm trying to be ever so gentle because I don't want a heavy coat in here of this grass green, but I want just enough. So I'm putting some little extras around where I see some of that shading, so a little bit thicker of a coat, but still a very light coat. Okay. But anyways, what we're going to get when we apply that second color over this grass green is a really cool effect. And then after we do the grass green, we will come back and put in some more layers and details. So I'm going to go around this hair a little bit with a little bit darker, not too much, just a little bit. But when you get down here, make sure you're using a baby touch and just filling in that square with a light touch of that grass green. Just like that. Nothing over the top. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing right now? You'll see. I always say there's really no rules in how you want to do something, especially when it comes to a picture or applying colored pencil. But, I mean, there are a few rules you should follow that are good rules, but I'm breaking one of them right now by doing this. I'm not using a base color. And although it's not a hard, fast rule, it does make your picture look very different when you do tints and tones and underpainting and shading. But I did this for a reason on this picture. And hopefully it'll depict to you on camera what I want it to look like. And then what I see in person. Okay. Again, you can see I'm just hitting all my squares. Light coat. I'm going to go up around the hair here. All right, I'm going to do this one. Same thing. There's a little bit more shading right here in this corner and up against the hair. Now you see this one right here has some really dark shading right through the center. So I'm going to go over that first because I want to keep that bit of deeper shading. Now I'm going to do my light coat throughout the whole box. I'm still using circles, but I'm using longer circles like ovals. I'm going to do this one. And you can definitely see I'm using a light coat because it just looks like a grassy green, but a light fuzzy layer. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It looks fuzzy on the paper. It's a good depiction of it. Okay, I'm getting around this one around the bow here. Try to get my outside line. And a little bit darker right in here. And then this one's got quite a bit of shading. It's a little deeper. Okay. Right around that bow. And then this little one right against the skin here. Okay, the rest of it looks like it's part of the bow. Now you're gonna do all your boxes that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the next color that I want you to put in there. I'm thinking, which one did I use? My brain is on fire. Give me a second. I can't remember what I did. I have a couple colors here I gotta test. Hold on. I think, why is that? I had them all laid out and then I messed them up. Okay, I think it was the one in my hand, but I can't remember. Did I do that or did I do, shoot. Now I have to pull out my scratch sheet. See if I wrote it down somewhere. I didn't practice this, so I had to see if did I write it down? Choose that one. I think. I'm pretty sure this is what I did. It's 910. So I'm just going to test this one down here on the corner. Make sure this is what I did. Is that what I did? Look at me. You're watching me. You're watching me think out loud here. It's my goofy little process. Or did I do this? I did this one. See? Good thing I tested a corner. Okay. I went back to the 289 over the grass green. I was like, oh my gosh, don't let me mess this up on camera right now. Oops. And I missed this one right here. Okay. So take your 289 and go over your grass green squares with a light coat like before. Good grief. I can't believe I didn't take notes and write this down before I started filming. But now if I did that, my channel just wouldn't be my channel. That's what makes it comedy hour on my channel. It's either me, Gretel, or just something goes amiss. So that's what I did. Ugh. I'm glad I tested that corner. So I'm going to have one weird corner on my picture. That's okay. Anyway, so you can see what's happening here with that grass green and your 289. And I keep seeing where I missed some in my other squares. But I'm just going over it with the light coat, kind of giving that square an overall color. And where that's darker shaded areas, I'm still seeing that through my, through the blending. So like right here, where that shading is on right in this spot, when I go over this, you'll still see it there. And again, I'm not using a heavy pressure, but I missed this corner up here, it looks like. Okay. Now I'm going to do, this one's going to be a weird one because I put a little bit of that other color there. Which we are going to use that color, just not yet. So I kind of gave it away a little bit, huh? So make sure you get a good coat in all your squares. And don't be like me and miss half your squares. So again, I'm just going to blend each square out nicely with a nice even light coat. And this one, why does this one look so weird? What did I do to it? Whatever. Okay, so you can see I got these colors going in here and this last little square. Nope, I missed. Did I do this one? I can't remember. I'm getting old. I'm getting old and goofy. All right. So now that that side's done, do all the rest of your squares the same. Put your grass green in, put your coating down. It's really going to be good. I'm digging this picture. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. My light coat, my grass green. Going up around that berry. And then there's that bit of shading here. There's this one down here. And up around this collar. It's a little bit darker around the top of the collar there. There we go. Now I'm putting that 289 in over the grass green. Making sure to get every square evenly as best I can anyway. Yep. Now make sure you do this side. Got this really intriguing movie going on. It keeps pulling my attention. Put a little bit more around the top of this hair here. Always going up against that skin makes me nervous. I don't want to turn it green. Okay, and then right this one, there's some shading to mimic, again, the folds of the shirt. So I'm just kind of going over that. But you don't need, still don't need to apply a lot of pressure because that gray underneath is going to give it that shading regardless. So it's still going to be there. Again, I'm just doing each one. Nothing fancy. I'm going to get around this hair with a little bit of a extra bit there. And then I'm going to do the rest of my boxes. Sorry, it went all quiet. The part in the movie. Getting all sappy. Might have to rewind that. So finish all your green boxes, your grass green, and then put your 289 in. And I'm going to drive you all crazy because I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to post this part of the video. And then the next part, we're going to finish the shirt. I know, don't you hate me now? Ha ha ha. I thought that was funny. I don't know, maybe my sarcasm is too sarcastic. But I thought it was pretty funny. I could just not have told you and lied to you and said, hey, April Fool. But no, seriously, I'm gonna. That way you can at least start this and be ready for the next part. Got this little bit down here. And I can't tell, is that part? Nope. There's this one. And I can't tell, is that part of the bow? No, I think that's part of the shirt right here. Okay. They're going to put this 289 in now. Make sure you get every little square. Give it a good blend. But still go light. Don't be a pressure monster. And I mean, no matter what your skill level is, this is something you should be able to do. Whether you're advanced or very beginning, this is such an easy blend. It shouldn't be complicated if you're using a really light touch. And that's where doing color combos or swatching out color charts is really helpful, because you can learn your pressures and your techniques, especially for learning how to do blending. That is the easiest way to start blending, is doing color combos. Teaching yourself how to get a nice even blend doing your combos. And when you start doing that, then putting that onto paper in a picture. But I will tell you, nobody just picked up a pencil unless they're a freaking prodigy and can knock out these stunning art pieces with pencils. Everybody learned somewhere, and it took time to learn technique and color theory. So don't beat yourself up when you're learning. Just take your time and be patient with yourself. And don't give up on a picture so easy. If you think it looks bad from the beginning, just wait, keep working with it. And always work in light layers with Prismacolors, because you can change your picture if you're working in light layers. If you go in all pressure monster, it's going to be really hard to make those changes after you've burnished that color into the paper. And I think that's where a lot of people get really frustrated. And the big thing is with your Prismas, when you start pushing really hard, you start breaking pencils. So they're not designed to be heavy-handed. So what do you think so far? I know you're like, oh, I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. But trust me, we've got some more little fancy colors over here. And one of them we will be using is 910. And look, we got 989. So when we come back, we're going to be putting more of these awesome colors into this shirt. And we're going to polish it off and make it look really cool. So stay with me, and hopefully this turns out like the image in my head. And I hope you guys like it. And then after we do that, we'll do the bows. And then I think we're going to do the fork. Yeah, I think, well, maybe we'll do the cake, and then we'll do the fork and the plate last. Food for thought. Well, actually, the tablecloth will be last, because I don't know what the heck I'm going to do yet. Anyways, I'm going to get this posted, and we'll come back with the rest of the shirt. Stay tuned.